Namu Myōrenji Temple. Namu Myōrenji Temple. Namu Myōrenji Temple. Thank you very much again. So welcome. This is our first meeting in Portuguese well, for the members of Portugal and Portuguese-speaking countries. But unfortunately, I don't speak Portuguese. I can understand when written down because it's like Italian, but I don't speak. So we have to, I'm sorry, but we have to hold the meeting in English. And if you have some question and you don't know how to say a word in maybe English, because it's some concept or something from Buddhism, you can also try to say to me in Portuguese. Probably I will understand. Or put it this way, maybe I will understand. If not, I have Manuel who can help me. All right. And today, before we start, since this is our first time together, we would like to introduce ourselves to each other, so we can all, maybe you saw each other's names on the group of WhatsApp, but this is the first time to see the face, maybe, you know, unless you're a friend on the Facebook, I don't know. So it's a good way to introduce ourselves and get to know each other also. All right. So I am Reverend Tarabini. I'm here in Italy, in the Renkōji Temple, and all the Portuguese members, they part of the Renkōji Temple. There's only one temple in Southern Europe. So we must all cooperate together to learn about the Buddhism best we can, even though the temple, I'm sorry, is very far. So thank goodness we have the Zoom to help us. And if we grow enough, maybe someday we will also have temple in Portugal. This would be wonderful. But for now, we use what we have, and we try to do our best to learn Buddhism and to establish the Buddhism in Portugal. Okay, very good. So anyway, I'm here in Italy. The temple is in a region called Piemonte, and it is under the Alps near France, and above us is Switzerland. So it's the north west of Italy, very far northwest. And the temple is located approximately in between Milano and Torino, about in the middle. So closer to Torino, but approximately in the middle, to give you a general idea where we are. If you know the Italian map, you know, if you know well, then you will understand where we are. So we're in a small village, medieval village, and very old and very rustic. It's an agricultural area. So it's very calm, peaceful, because we don't have a lot of anything around us. It's just a small little village. And of course, you're all welcome to come and visit us whenever you can, as soon as it is possible for us to travel freely. Because right now it's a little difficult because of our good friend Covidicino, that's who I call him. He's stopping us and making us stay at home right now. So with that, I will finish, and I passed on. Maybe Manuel, would you like to, since you helped, you're the one who organized, I think you should say something to welcome everybody and talk about yourselves too.
Welcome everybody. I think, well, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Filipa, because kind of the introduction is the same. My name is Manuel, and she is Filipa, is my wife. We live here in Portugal in the Council of Peniche. We've been practicing Nichiren Buddhism almost like 2.5 years, I think, or more or less.
About that, yes.
We already visited the temple 2 times. Due to this situation with COVID, we were unable to visit the temple last year, but we also hope to be able to visit more than once this year as soon as possible. And well, I would like to welcome everybody and Namu Myōrenji.
Very good, thank you. Philippa, you want to say something?
Well, I think he already said everything.
Said everything? Okay, so this is Philippa. At least you hear her very nice voice. Eh? Okay, so anyone else? Go ahead. I will let you go freely. Someone to speak? Don't be shy. Marco?
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Marco. I'm from Porto. I live in Lisbon. I'm a police officer, and I'm an apprentice concerning to Buddhism. My first contact was with Kadampa Buddhism here in the temple in Sintra. I didn't know anything about Buddhism, and I just got there randomly. And then it's the only, and of course with Manuel, he's teaching me other perspectives about Buddhism and about the whole world that Buddhism is. So I'm a humbled apprentice, and I'm learning.
Very good. Thank you. Welcome. Good. Who else do I see on the screen? Blitz-san.
はい、聞こえますか？
はい、聞こえます。でも日本語じゃない方がいいよ。
はいはい。
英語でお願いします。
My name is Mitsutake Ikeda. People call me Blitz. Como revista de rock and roll. I live in Coimbra now. I'm from Japan originally. I was living in Firenze, Florence, for almost 3 years. In the beginning of the stay in Firenze, I did an internship of Erasmus with Renkōji Temple, and I engaged in the translation project with Reverend Taravini, and also his friend Jean Loy. Now, last October, when first quarantine stopped, I came back to Portugal, and now Portugal is doing the lockdown, so pretty much it's the same situation. But here I will start my doctorate degree in Coimbra University. Namyo-renge kyo.
No, English. Welcome. I mix up, sorry. And next we have Carlos.
Hello, I'm Carlos Pestana. I live in Madeira Island, which is the picture you see behind me. I've been in Buddhism before, several times, mainly Tibetan Buddhism. I was associated with the House of Tibet in Madeira, and I thank you very much for receiving me on this chat. I was invited by Manuel. I work here about 20 years in Madeira, but I lived in other places before here. So thank you so much. Namyo-renge kyo.
So Carlos, are you originally from Madeira?
I was born here, but I lived in Africa, Latin America, and the mainland as well.
Wow. Wow. Very good. Very good. Okay, and now I have a Meta, who is special guest today. Meta, you would like to turn on your microphone so we can hear you and you can introduce yourself.
Is it on now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I'm Mata. I live in Norway. I used to practice SGI Buddhism before, many years ago. I was introduced as Buddhism to SGI. But after some years, I met with Reverend Tarabini, and I came visiting him in London quite a lot, many years ago when he was there. I know I'm here back in Italy, trying to study as best I can from Norway. It's a long way away, but it works fine. On the internet now, it's marvelous. So I hope to come to the temple sometime when it's possible.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Namu
So welcome, Meta. So she's not from Portugal, or let's say she's from a distant province of Portugal. We say like this way. The province of Norway, of Portugal. Ecco. Anyway, before I was in Italy, I was stationed in the temple in London for close to 5 years. And that's when I met Metta and other people throughout Europe. And Metta has continued to follow us, even though we established the temple in Italy. The temple is here since the end of 2005. So it's not so old, but we are growing. We have about 200 members in the temple altogether. So we never have one meeting where everybody is all together. It seems to be impossible because of people's work schedules and everything. But we are quite active and we have a lot of things going on. And so today, I thought we can speak about one writing of Nichiren Daishonin. This is not the writings of the Buddha, but the writings of a great bodhisattva called Nichiren Daishonin. And I sent a copy of this to all of you in English with a reference also in Portuguese, which Manuel helped me to correct. And on the group, our Portuguese group of WhatsApp. Okay, but now I'm going to open it up and put a share screen so you can see it all. Ecco. And I will read to you first, just because so you can hear the words. I will read to you first in English, and then someone can read to me in Portuguese, because my accent in Portuguese would be terrible. So maybe someone can be kind enough to read in Portuguese. Then I will discuss it in English, okay? Because unfortunately, I am not able to give a lecture in Portuguese, okay? Written, like I said before, I can more or less understand, but to talk properly is a whole different problem. So I will start now. I will share screen. Okay. Oh, this is Spanish, English. Okay. So this Gosho is called Namu Gosho. I will explain everything afterwards. Just right now, we will just read it. All right. I have built neither temple halls nor pagodas. However, I want to make offerings to the three treasures of Buddhism. The only thing that a person is reluctant to do is to offer his life. However, I would like to offer mine to the Lotus Sūtra. When the Buddhas of the three existences were common mortals, they offered their lives to the Lotus Sūtra and all became Buddhas. It is for this reason we say Namu before all Buddhas. Namu is a word from the land of Gashi, which in this country signifies Kimyo. The great master of the Dharma, Tiantai, explained that Namu means with one's life, one returns to Myōrenji. If one offers one's life to the Lotus Sutra, one becomes a Buddha. At this time, I, Nichiren, offer my life to the Lotus Sutra. Okay, so if someone now, it is here on the end of the page, is in Portuguese. If someone could kindly read to me in Portuguese, to read for everybody in Portuguese.
Can I?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Não tenho construído nem templos nem pagodas. No entanto, gostaria de fazer oferendas aos três tesouros do budismo. A única coisa que uma pessoa resiste a fazer é oferecer a sua vida. Eu gostaria de oferecer a minha ao Sutra do Lotus. Quando os Budas das três existências eram meros mortais, eles ofereceram as suas vidas ao Sutra do Lotus e tornaram-se Buda. Por esta razão, dizemos Namu em frente a todos os Budas. Namu é um termo da terra de Gashi, que neste país significa Kimyo. O grande mestre do Dharma, Tiantai, explicou que Namu significa Com a própria vida, a pessoa retorna para Myōrenji. Se uma pessoa oferece a sua vida ao Sutra do Lótus, ela torna-se um Buda. Neste momento, eu, Nichiren, ofereço a minha vida ao Sutra do Lótus.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Thank you. Very beautiful pronunciation. So, and I will discuss from the English version, okay, to begin with. And then if you have some questions regarding what we are studying today, then please ask me. Then after that, if you have other questions about the Buddhism which you want to ask me, even they don't have anything to do about this writing, please feel free also to ask me, okay? So the first of all, this is part of a manuscript written by Nichiren, the founder of Nichiren Shu, and he wrote it while he was in the last years of his life from Mount Minobu. They think it is probably between the years of 1275 and 1278, which he wrote it. There is other pieces of this letter that came before these two paragraphs, and also other paragraphs that continued. However, they have been lost. And so we only have these two paragraphs left in his original hand, and it is kept at the Nichiren Shu temple called Myōrenji in Kyoto, in Japan. So let me now start to read English and start to explain, because there's some also words here that there is no explanation for in the text, so they need to be explained. I have built neither temple halls nor pagodas. So Nichiren Shonin, all his life, he was very busy. He had like a small hut in Kamakura where he lived, and he went out on the street and preached the Dharma on the street to people. He didn't have a real temple. Some people came to his little hut. It was a hut, small house, and in the mountains just outside of central Kamakura, and they would come to see him and talk to him. So it kind of functioned like a temple, but it really wasn't a temple. And it was just a small mountain residence. And at the end of his life, however, when he went to Minobu, he had another residence which later was transformed at the end, towards the end of his life, into a temple called Kuonji. So in the end, he founded one temple. And Kuonji on Mount Minobu today is the head temple of all of Nichiren Shu. It is where Nichiren Shonin's tomba in Italian, is his grave. And so all the different Nichiren schools, not only Nichiren Shu, go to Mount Minobu to be able to visit his grave. Okay, it's very open. Nichiren Shu is very open for that. Everyone is welcome to come and worship in front of Nichiren Shonin's grave, no matter what, even if you are not Nichiren Shu, it's completely open. Now, continuing back on the text, however, I would like to make offerings to the three treasures of Buddhism. This word, three treasures of Buddhism, sometimes it's also called in English the triple jewel. Maybe you have heard this expression, especially if you have studied Tibetan Buddhism. Okay, has anyone heard this term before? Yes. Yes. Okay. So who can tell me what it means, the three treasures? Can anyone explain for me?
Buddha, Buddha, Dharma, is Sangha.
Okay. All right. Also other people, you've heard the same thing, right? So this Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, the three treasures of Buddhism, is very important to all traditional Buddhist schools. It's very, very important because it forms the foundation of all of Buddhism. The Buddha is the man who became enlightened and then left his teachings for us. He taught us about Buddhism, he taught us about his enlightenment, and he left his teachings for us, and which became the sutras. Okay, they were copied down and made into sutra form. So the first is the Buddha Shakyamuni. Okay, however, Buddha Shakyamuni is not the only Buddha in the universe. There are many Buddhas in the universe. But for us, since the Buddhism was founded here on the earth, and it's really the original Buddhism of all the Buddhism in the universe, then for us, even though we have respect for all the Buddhas, for us, the Buddha Shakyamuni is the most special one. He is the main Buddha, all right? So for us, he is the treasure or jewel of all the Buddhas in the universe, the most special one. And that's why we call him the treasure of the Buddha. Now, he left, as I said before, he left his teachings. So these teachings are teachings to help people to not only just know about Buddhism and its traditions, but also for them to become enlightened, okay, to lead them, to help them to grow and become enlightened and become a Buddha just like him. And these teachings are called the Dharma, okay, the Dharma. Okay, and this, so there are many teachings throughout the world, many teachings of the various Buddhas, but for us, the Dharma, the treasure, which becomes the most special one, most important one, is the Buddha's ultimate teachings, his last teachings. All of his teachings are important, but the main one is Lotus Sutra, because this is the one which reveals his enlightenment and helps all people to become Buddha just like him. Okay? It is the spirit behind all the other sutra. It is the spirit behind all of Buddhism, the underlying heart or spirit of Buddhism. So it is very, very important for us, and it becomes a treasure. The last one is the Sangha. Sangha originally means a community of Buddhist monks. So when the Buddha, after his enlightenment, started to teach about the Buddhism, many people became monks and started to follow him. They were only men. They did not, in their culture, they did not allow men and women who are not married to be mixing together and living together as a religious community. Everybody was separate. So in the beginning, it was only men who followed him. He had a group of male monks who followed him. And wherever he went to teach, they went with him, they assisted him, they helped him, everything they could do. Later on, however, a lot of women became inspired by the figure of these monks and of the Buddha himself and his teachings, and also decided they want to devote their lives to the Dharma also. So they became monks also, although we call them nuns in English, but they are just basically female monks. So in Buddhism, it is not, it is a male monk and female monk. They're same level. They're not different. Like example, in Catholic Church, you have priest who is above, who can do the sacrament. And then you have the nun. She cannot do the sacrament. There's a difference. In the case of Buddhism, they are the same. So just a male monk or female monk. And so that way, the following of the Buddha began to increase a lot with the introduction of the female monks. So many female believers and followers decided to become monks. They received the precepts. Now another phenomena happened after this, and that is many people, upon hearing the teachings of the Buddha, they decide also they want to devote their lives to the Dharma and to all of Buddhism and to the Buddha himself. But maybe they're married, they had a family, they have a business. They cannot easily leave everything and just become a monk. So they receive the precepts of becoming official follower and supporter of the Buddha as a lay person, lay believer. So the Sangha then grew to include male monks, female monks, and male lay believers and female lay believers. So it's become very wide and more complex. All of this is the Sangha. So these monks or people who have received the precepts devote their lives to this religious faith and practice. In the case of Nichiren Shu, the main monk who helps us to understand the Buddha's teachings and who guides us is Nichiren. So Nichiren Daishonin becomes the treasure or the special jewel within all of our Sangha. So to repeat, the three treasures become the Buddha Shakyamuni, the Dharma, and Nichiren Daishonin. Okay, so Buddha is a Shakyamuni for the Buddha, Dharma is Lotus Sutra, Namu Gosho, and for the Sangha, it is Nichiren Daishonin. Now, about the Buddha, I will make one more precision about the meaning of the Buddha. In the Lotus Sutra, as I stated earlier, the Buddha revealed his enlightenment exactly as it is. In all the other sutras, he had many, many teachings to prepare the people, to help them to create a mentality of Buddhism, to help them to understand the deep thought and spirit and character of Buddhism. But when he arrived to, so they're very, very important. They needed all of this to go step by step to really grow and develop. It's very important. However, when he arrived to the time of the Lotus Sutra, which is at the end of his life, he said, okay, now you have all learned a lot. Now I want to teach you something very special. And that is, I want to reveal to you my enlightenment, to show you exactly what it is and how far-reaching it is also. So he speaks about this, and he shows everybody, says that I was born on this planet as Siddhartha Gautama, but in reality, my enlightenment comes from millions of years before. I was originally always a enlightened Buddha. So he becomes the original Buddha, or the he's originally a Buddha from the ancient past. So for us, or also we call them the eternal Buddha, because after he arrived, he go to the Nirvana, his body is finished, but his life will continue, his enlightened life. And so because of that, we also refer to him as the eternal Buddha. And so the treasure of the Buddha in our Buddhism is not only Buddha Shakyamuni, the one we know from India, but also his original form. Actually, it is even more important, his original form, because it encompasses all of his life, even as Buddha Shakyamuni in India, but much, much deeper, and also extends to the future. So this is the treasure of all the Buddhas, okay? And there are more teachings related to this, but we will talk about that in a different time, okay? So I'm going to continue now with the text. The only thing that a person may be reluctant to do is to offer his life to something or someone, right? I would like, however, to offer mine to the Lotus Sutra. Why? Because when the Buddhas of the three existences, the past, present, and future, so all the Buddhas, when they offered their lives, when they were common mortals, they all became Buddhas. So this means that if we offer our life to the Lotus Sutra, we too will become a Buddha without exception. You might think, oh, but I don't know much about the Buddhism, or I'm not sure I want to convert to Buddhism right now, or maybe I have many problems in my life. I don't think I can be a Buddha, or I don't have enough education, or many, many different reasons that they can be. But here it is that the teaching of Lotus Sutra is that all people, men and women, as they are, can become a Buddha. You don't have to be reborn to be somebody special, something different, or to become a monk. But just as you are as a normal human being, with everything you have in your life, everything can be transformed and become enlightened, and you will become a Buddha. So that means everything you do for the Lotus Sutra and for all of Buddhism means chanting the sutra or studying the sutra, studying Nichiren's teachings, etc., or even just offering the incense and water and flowers, etc. All of these things, every single effort, no matter how great or how small, will all help you along this road to become enlightenment. They will implant good fortune in your life, and because of this, you too will become a Buddha. Buddhism, to become a Buddha is not only reserved for someone who wears the priest robes. It's for everybody. Okay? And this is the spirit of the Lotus Sutra and also the teachings of Nichiren Daishonin. Anyway, because these Buddhas have become enlightened, they were first common mortals, and then they too became enlightened, then we raise our hands to them, and before them we say, Namu. Namu means to take refuge. Okay, so Namu, the words taking refuge, this probably if you've studied Tibetan Buddhism, we take refuge in the triple jewel. I'm sure they have this saying. It also means to devote oneself. Okay, and there is another explanation of it in the next paragraph, and so I will save it for that. But if we think about our lives and compare it in relationship to the word Namu, maybe we can think about on one day when it is raining very hard, all of a sudden, what do? Do you stay in the rain and just get wet? Probably not. If you don't have an umbrella, you will run to somewhere which is covered to protect yourself from the rain. In other words, you take refuge from the rain, right? So in this case, taking refuge in the Buddha, our life can be filled with troubles. We can see much corruption around us, or things that are not so pure, or we can see a lot of bad things maybe around us in our society. But no matter what, we want to take refuge from all of this evil and negativity in the Buddha. So we entrust our life to the Buddha and his teachings, so that we too can be protected and live a better life. And this is the meaning of Namu. Okay. Next, we'll go now to the next paragraph. Namu is a word from the land of Gashi, which in this country signifies Kimyo. Gashi is an ancient term, it is a term for ancient India. I'm sorry, I said it wrong. The term which means India, but ancient India. Okay, it's an old word. So Namu is a word that comes from India, is basically what he is saying here, which in this country signifies Kimyo. The word Kimyo is a Japanese word, and the ki of Kimyo means to return, and Myo means life. So to return one's life. Okay. And now Nichiren, after that, will explain this a little further. He said, so Namu means to return one's life, Kimyo. In fact, the great master of the Dharma Tentai explained that Namu means that with one's life, one returns to Myoho Renge Kyo. Myoho Renge Kyo is the name of the eternal Buddha, which I explained to you before in the Three Treasures. It is the heart of the Lotus Sutra. It is also the name of the Lotus Sutra, but it represents the eternal Buddha and his enlightenment. So what does this mean? With one life, one returns to the original enlightenment of the Buddha, Myoho Renge Kyo. What does this mean? If I've not become a Buddha yet, how can I return? Right? How can I return? It's impossible. Well, the teaching of the Lotus Sutra is that originally all of us were enlightened. And little by little, we stepped away and became farther away from the enlightenment. So when we say Namu and take refuge in the Buddha and his teachings, and we practice the Buddhism, we are returning to that original life, okay, which was enlightened. So in that way, with one's life, one returns to Myoho Renge Kyo. If one offers one's life to the Lotus Sutra, one becomes a Buddha. So this I explained to you before. If we offer our life to the Buddha, and no matter what we do, even if we just offer water or flowers, or chant only Daimoku, Namu Myoho Renge Kyo 3 times, or chant all of the sutra, every single thing we do, every effort will implant good fortune and help us to become a Buddha. So here Nichiren Daishonin is promising us, based on the Lotus Sutra, if one, based on the teaching of the Lotus Sutra, which comes from the Buddha himself, if one offers one's life to the Lotus Sutra, one will become a Buddha, period. That's it. You offer your life to the Buddha, it is guaranteed. You too will become a Buddha. Okay. So at this time, I, Nichiren, offer my life to the Lotus Sutra. Okay. Here we see Nichiren, he was a great master of Buddhism and very courageous. But here also we see he puts himself humbly before the Lotus Sutra and before the Buddha. And he's offering now his life, but actually really giving his entire life, not just a small offering, but his entire life to the Buddha and the Lotus Sutra. So we should learn from this spirit and practice with that same type of devotion. And this will help us to learn very deeply about Buddhism. It will help us to really change our vision of life in a much more profound way. But ultimately, we will become enlightened ourselves, okay? And have the power and the compassion to help many other people to do the same. Okay. So with that, I'm going to finish that. I finish now my explanation of Namu Gosho. Just 2 short paragraphs, not very long, but packed with a lot of information. So I think it's a good point where here we can discuss now this and see what you think, your feelings, or if you have some question. All right, I'd like now to open it up to everyone. Any question? No? Complete silence. Carlos, how about for you? Carlos, you have some question? No? Or comment?
No
Marco?
questions.
Marco, do you have some questions or comment?
No. I was just listening and absorbing all of this. It's things that I didn't know about the meaning of Myoho Renge Kyo and all the what concerns this view of Buddhism. So it's very good for me to learn it. But actually, I don't have any questions.
Okay.
Just learning.
Just learning. That's okay. That's okay. But if you have a question, it's no problem to ask. Okay. So I'm here for that. So Myoho Renge Kyo has a translation. Actually, it is also the name of the Lotus Sutra itself. Okay. In Sanskrit, The name of Lotus Sutra is Saddharma Pundarika Sutra. Okay, translated into Sino-Japanese is Myōrenji Temple. Okay. And when we're reciting, we're saying Namu Myōrenji Temple. So we are on one side we are saying Namu to the Lotus Sutra. Okay, and of course each word has also meaning. So we're saying Namu to all the different words also. Plus, it is the name of this eternal Buddha, the actual enlightenment of Shakyamuni Buddha. So we are saying Namu to the enlightened life of Shakyamuni Buddha also.
Okay.
So it's very profound.
Yes, it is.
Myoho, yeah, Myoho means Myoho like mystic or wonderful, and Ho is Dharma. Okay, and Renge means lotus flower. So from there you got the name Lotus Sutra.
Exactly.
Okay, and Kyo means sutra. All right.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Blitz-san, 何かコメントか何かあります？
Hi. If not too much of trouble to ask, I would like to make a suggestion because this word Kimyo, what great master of the Dharma, Tiantai, interpreted as coming back to the life. This Myo is a different letter of kanji from Nammyo Horenge Kyo's Myo.
Yes.
And it would be nice to just see, even though
You want me
don't
to write
understand
it?
the letters, but the phonetic sound is same. So if I
Okay.
actually get to see
Okay.
the two different letters.
All right. Let me do it for you then. Hold on just a second. I will make you one one moment.
And as I understood, I'm just talking. As I understood, Kimyo's Myo means life. And
Yes.
Nammyo Horenge Kyo's Myo is a different letter of mysticism, mystic
Yes.
of the Dharma. And it is really interesting, the point of Kumarajiva put Myo of mystic instead of orthodox of the Sandharika Pundarika,
Yes.
Sandharma Pundarika Sutra. Which I believe it is one of the particular characteristics of Lotus Sutra of Kumarajiva.
Yes. One moment, just one moment, and I will put all of this for you.
Also, if I recall properly, there is a text on the so-called oral traditions of Nichiren Daishonin. I think the text was written by Nico Shonin, in which he speaks about the characters of the Odaimoku, and he writes that Myo can also be translated as enlightenment.
Nico Shonin.
Yes.
Escreveu, wrote the letter Myo could mean enlightenment.
Is a text well, the text, the writing of the text attributed to Nico Shonin, but supposedly is of the oral tradition of Nichiren Daishonin. I think that the name of the text is Ogni Shuden or something like that. I don't remember the name.
Maybe the oral transmission of
let me check here
the doctrine.
Here.
Yeah, that sounds possible.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to share the screen again. One moment, then you can see. So here at the end, I have written.
See.
Maybe this way you can see better. I try to make it
Yep.
so it's more clear. Okay, so here's Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Even we don't read Chinese character, in my case and Blitz's case, we can read. But even if you don't know, this is how you write it in the Chinese letters, Chinese character. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Okay, and so Namu Myo. This Myo here is this one. Can you see? So the Myo here is written like this. Okay, and in Japanese, many words have the same sound, so it can be confusing to us. But if you write the Chinese character, each Chinese character has a lot of meaning. So this is how we can distinguish between the two myos. One means one thing, and another one, even has same pronunciation, has completely different meaning. And I will go over that a little bit more again. But just right now, let's just to keep simple. And then Kimyo, I forgot to put the O elongated. There. Okay. So Kimyo is written like this. This letter Ki means to return. And Myo means life, just as Blitz explained to us. Okay. So to return one's life or return to life can be read in both ways. And so this Myo, you can see, is different than this one. And here you can see it better. I rewrote it here. You see how it is different from the one above? It is written very differently, no? So even though it has the same pronunciation, it's a different meaning. The second Myo here on the bottom means life. And the Myo on the top means wonderful, marvelous, mysterious. Very, very profound. So it's the same pronunciation, but two different meanings completely. Okay, so I hope this helps a little bit. Okay. All right. これでよろしいですか？
はい、ありがとうございます。
はい、どうも。Okay, anyone else? Some other question? Anything is okay. So now if you have other question in general about Buddhism also, we can discuss it. This time is for you. No? Everyone is shy today. Also, it's the first time for us to know each other too. So
Yes, and
it is right.
of course one has many questions, but it's difficult to center them right at the moment. So I
Yeah.
always had many questions, but I can't think of any now. So I wonder about the meaning of Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, all the meanings. So you wrote a whole book about it.
Yes.
Could you mention
Well,
some of it?
Well, as I explained before, I talked about Myoho Renge Kyo is the enlightenment of the original enlightenment of the eternal Buddha. Okay, and it's also the name of the eternal Buddha. Okay, so
Yeah.
that is Myoho Renge Kyo. So we take refuge in this eternal Buddha. But now if we go back letter by letter to see the actual translation of each word, so Namu we have discussed because we have talked about Namu in this whole Gosho. Myo I just explained. Ho, this letter here, Ho or here, Ho means Dharma. So the teachings of the Buddha. But it also reflects, the teachings of the Buddha reflect the truth of all phenomena throughout life. So the Dharma also means this, the truth of all phenomena of all of life. In all these many different aspects. Okay, so that is what the Buddha has become enlightened to, and that is the Dharma. And he tries to explain this, all of these aspects and phenomena and the truth of life to all of us, so that we too can become enlightened. And his teachings are called the Dharma. So they are together, actually, these two things. Okay. And Renge means lotus flower. Okay. And Kyo means sutra, the written teachings, the actual document. Okay. And earlier, Blitz was saying, because this in Myoho Renge Kyo in Sanskrit is called Saddharma Pundarika Sutra. Okay. And if I add Namu, be Namas Saddharma Pundarika Sutra, because we have that way we have Namu Myoho Renge Kyo completely in Sanskrit. But Myoho comes from the word Saddharma. Saddharma means the truth. Sad means truth. And so the truth of all the Dharma, all the phenomena throughout the world. Okay. And that is so great, difficult to understand, and so fantastic, so marvelous, and so wide and encompassing. So because of that, this truth, the man who translated the Lotus Sutra called Kumarajiva, who Blitz mentioned before, he translated Sad as Myo. Myo, okay? So Myoho Renge Kyo. Renge means Pundarika. In the Buddhism, this means lotus flower, as I said. In the Buddhism, we see many types of lotus flowers described. Some are white, some are pink, some are red, yellow, blue, etc. All different colors. And also variations, just like all flowers. There are many, many different colors. So this case, Renge, is Pundarika in Indian language, Sanskrit, and it means a white lotus. So it's a type of lotus which is all white. And this represents the pure, very clean and pure and perfect enlightenment of the Buddha. That is why he chose the word Pundarika, or why they translate as Renge. Okay, it's not just any lotus flower. It is a particular type of lotus flower, white lotus flower. Okay. And then Kyo, the last word, is Sutra, as I explained before, the teachings, the written teachings of the Buddha. Okay. Anything else? Any question other than this Gosho that you would like to speak about? Something that you have been studying and would like to know more? Anything? Marco, I put pressure on you, okay?
Marco tem su micrófono desativado.
I'm sorry. I was saying that I am the most unqualified to speak or consider about Buddhism, but I have a lot of questions. Mainly, how can you tell us what's the main difference from this Buddhism from the Tibetan Buddhism, for example, or the Kadampa one of
Okay, so in Buddhism, we have many types of Buddhism. And usually there are many various traditions and schools. To begin with, all of the traditional schools all have the same base. You know, like in Christianity, you have an Orthodox, you have a Catholic, you have a Protestant, and you have Protestant and many, many different kinds. And of the Orthodox also, there are many, many different kinds. You know, I don't know all the names. So, but their base, maybe they have some difference in doctrine or difference in style or difference on how to pray, but their basic foundation is all the same. Okay, the basic, okay, is the same. This is what it identifies them as a Christian. Okay, and of course there is some differences in doctrine also, but the main part is the same. So in the case of Buddhism, it is the same. We have many, many schools, but the base is all the same. Right? And I talked about earlier that the Lotus Sutra was taught towards the end of the Buddha's life. He taught many, many, many teachings. It says he taught a total of 84,000 sutras. So that's a lot, you know, really a lot. And when he spoke to people who were very educated, maybe they were monks, he would speak in a very profound and elaborate way that they can understand. But he cannot speak like that to a common person who has never heard about Buddhism before. It's like they're speaking to him in Russian, if you do that way, no? So the Buddha, he was very sensitive to the people, and he spoke to each person so that each person could understand, you know, and find something new and grow with that. Not only people who are well prepared, also just common people who never knew anything before, because he wants to give them something and teach them about the Dharma. Okay, and little by little they learn many things, and they also become more well educated too. So all these different teachings after the Buddha died were written down, because normally what they will do is, like we are doing now, we chant the sutra, we recite it orally. Originally, this was the way how they passed down or transmitted this, also the teaching of the Buddha. It was all done orally. It was like a song. So, you know, if you sing a song from the radio or something, or television you've seen, it's easy to remember the words, you know, because of the form, the style, you know, maybe even have a little section that is repeating, you know, and it's easy to remember. So these sutras were taught like this too in the beginning. It was all oral and they were sung.
And it could be because of the vibration also and the rhythm.
The rhythm and vibration
laws of the universe
have something to do with it, but right now I'm just talking about the different teachings. And so all of this, after the Buddha died, they realized just reciting, because there were so many, that if we just recite, maybe later on they can cross, or they can get confused, or someone forgets something, and possibly we could lose some of the teaching. So the disciples started to write it down so they can record it, just like we do, you know, so that way it will remain forever. It will be documented. And what these documents, which they wrote down, became the 84,000 sutras. Okay. Now, so as I said before, he talked to many people. He preached about the Dharma. He taught the Dharma for close to 50 years. For about 50 years. So, as I said before, he talked to people who didn't know about Buddhism and other people who have become more advanced. So, of course, he cannot teach the same teaching to everyone. So, in the beginning, there was more simple teachings. Or if he talked to the priests, they were more complex because they were well prepared. But even with the common people, after that, he started to speak in a more profound way and talk about different aspects. Like, for example, compassion, and salvation, or also wisdom, like this, meditation. He talked about many, many, many things. And these were over 50 years. But all of these teachings had one purpose, was to bring all the people and help them to become enlightened themselves. But he didn't state that in the different sutra. When he arrived to Lotus Sutra, he said that this is why I am teaching this way, in varied ways, so that everyone can become enlightened. Now, many schools of Buddhism, they, hold on a second, I'm sorry. Many people in, so all of these teachings, then some groups of people will concentrate on the teaching they received, but maybe they didn't concentrate on other teachings because they didn't receive them or didn't know them. And from these groups became little schools based and concentrated on those teachings they received. So that is how, even though you have the same base of Buddhism, there are also differences in the approach and also the difference in mentality a little bit based on these original teachings they received. Okay. So that way we have many different schools also. So the base is the same, but maybe certain elements of concentration or main point that they want to concentrate on, can be different from school to school. We have, I don't know all of the Tibetan Buddhism, so I cannot comment deeply on it because I'm not expert of Tibetan Buddhism. But it is similar to a type of Buddhism, it's esoteric Buddhism, which is in Japan called Shingon. It's not the same, but similar. We also have Zen Buddhism, okay, which you have heard, and that is concentrating on one sutra. Their basic concentration is the Prajna Paramita Sutra, which is a wisdom sutra. So it's meditation to gain wisdom. Okay? So it's an important teaching. These are all very important. But as you can see, certain schools will put emphasis on certain aspects because they have centered on these types of teachings predominantly. Today, most of all the schools, they study all the different, the priests anyway, they will study all the different sutras, or at least the main ones. But each school has its tradition, and so they try to maintain the tradition based on what was passed down from the centuries. There's another form of Buddhism called Pure Land. Okay, and this is very similar to a Catholic style. Oh, they talking because they concentrate on a sutra which is talking about salvation. So for them, the salvation is after they die is the most important. It's very similar to Catholic in this way, but very different than Tibetan and very different than Zen. And of course, very different than Nichiren also. Okay. So you have to look at each school as having two parts. The basic part, which is all the same for everyone. And the second part is their main approach or main concentration on a doctrinal level. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. They're all Buddhism, however. This is important to know. They're all Buddhism, but there are some differences between. All right. Anybody else? Or you have another question?
Well, I know I don't have a question, but I have a comment and a request, if it's possible. Like, because the Gosho that you selected today actually speaks about these things that characterize Nichiren Buddhism. This focus on the Buddha Shakyamuni and his eternal nature, the Lotus Sutra, and the teachings of Nichiren Daishonin. But we also have the three secret dharmas, the Honson, the Kaiden, and the Daimoku. And I mean, I would like if you could maybe speak a bit about these three secret dharmas and about the practice of the chanting of the Daimokus and active meditation.
Okay. Okay. All right. So we spoke about all the different sutras, and so there are many sutras throughout the life of the Buddha. The final one is Lotus Sutra, and then also one more called the, Nirvana Sutra. And these are the final teachings of the Buddha. And Nichiren Shu concentrates on these final teachings because in these final teachings, the Buddha also explains that the spirit behind the Lotus Sutra, which wants every single person to become a Buddha, okay, no matter whether you're good or bad, if you've done good things or bad things, or smart or not smart, or rich or poor, doesn't matter, or monk or lay person, doesn't matter. All people will become a Buddha. But this spirit, this heart, that Shakyamuni Buddha, he said all the Buddhas have the same feeling, the same heart. And actually, this is the spirit behind all of the teachings of Buddhism, not only Lotus Sutra. So for us, Lotus Sutra is the final teachings, and also is this one teaching. It means that it is the heart of all of Buddhism. So we put special emphasis on Lotus Sutra. Okay, we do not disregard completely the other teachings. We learn them, but our main emphasis are on these aspects, on the three treasures, as we spoke before, also on this aspect of the eternal nature of the Buddha's enlightenment, and also how all people can become a Buddha. So these are main points that we really discuss a lot in Nichiren Buddhism, because it comes from the Lotus Sutra. Now, one more point is that Manuel, he brought out, it's not written in this Gosho, he asked about three secret dharmas, or you can also say, translate this as three aspects of the Dharma which are concealed within the Lotus Sutra. Okay, it's a different way to translate, but both are correct. And what this is one is called Honmon no Honzon, Honmon no Kaidan, Honmon no Daimoku. Okay, and the Lotus Sutra itself is based on, can be broken down to two parts: an introductory part, and then the main section of Lotus Sutra. Okay, the introductory part is called Shakumon, and have many basic teachings which are necessary to go to the main part. It's like this, to go step by step, just like he did in all of the teachings of Buddhism, step by step by step. Okay, so in the Lotus Sutra, have this introductory teaching called Shakumon, and then you have the main teachings, which is called Honmon. And in this Honmon, the Buddha reveals his identity. He reveals his identity, original identity, that he is not only received the enlightenment underneath the Pipal tree, the Bodhi tree, but actually he was enlightened from 1,000,000 years ago. And when he attained enlightenment under the tree, this is what he saw. He saw his original enlightenment. And so he wanted to share that with everyone. And that is in the Honmon. Okay, so Honmon teachings. So now, in the case of going now back to these three terms, Honmon no Honzon. Honmon no Honzon then means the object of veneration or object of concentration for our practice and meditation. Okay, what we use to observe Buddhist practice. The center of our Buddhist practice is, of course, the Lotus Sutra. But we also make an altar and try to put all of the images of this Lotus Sutra as our point of reference, our point of concentration. Okay, and in front of this, we concentrate on this enlightened life of the Buddha, and also how this enlightened life is go to all beings. Okay, this in the form of an object of worship or an altar. I'm going to leave it simple like this for now, so you can understand the concept. Okay. So everything on the altar takes reference to what I've just talked about in the Hommon teachings of Lotus Sutra. So the Nichiren altar is based on this core, this heart of the Lotus Sutra. Now, in the Nichiren, this can be shown in two ways. One, it can be by statues to represent the various people and things that we see in the story of the Lotus Sutra itself, because as a story unfolds, like a play or a movie. A story unfolds and things happen and people come and they go, things like this. This happens in the Lotus Sutra too. And then other Buddhas show themselves and they talk to each other. So this conversation is also showed in the Nichiren altar, where the Buddhas are talking to each other and discussing the eternal life of the Buddha. And in the center is Namu Myoho. Okay. So this can be formed in a statue form, which is easy to understand, or can also be in a form of a mandala. Just like Tibetan have mandala, also Nichiren has mandala. But ours is not different colored designs, because the Tibetan Buddhism also, with their mandala, they are trying to show different aspects of Buddhism and the teachings of Buddhism through their mandala. Nichiren also uses the same mandala, uses a mandala, not same as Tibetan and not colored like the Tibetan one, but everything is written in words, Chinese letters. So instead of having a statue of Shakyamuni Buddha, they write the name Shakyamuni Buddha. Okay, and instead of writing, there was another Buddha called Taho. So instead of having a statue of Taho Buddha, they write Taho Buddha. Actually, they write Namu Shakyamuni Buddha and Namu Taho Buddha and other bodhisattvas, and in front of their name also Namu. So this is the spirit of our practice, is Namu. That is why I selected this writing today to talk about this, is to take refuge, but also to devote ourselves and offer our life. Okay, and that is what we're seeing in the Gohonzon. This is the Hommon no Honzon. So we're offering our life and practicing to this object of worship or concentration, which is shown in the heart of the Lotus Sutra. So basically, we are offering our life to the heart of the Lotus Sutra and the heart of the Buddha's enlightenment. Okay. Now, Hommon no Kaidan. Kaidan means precepts platform. When someone becomes a monk, like in Catholic Church, in front of the main altar, they do prostration. They lay down, right? Probably you've seen photo probably in Catholic Church. They do something very similar. And the ancient way for receiving the precepts in the Buddhism was also like that. Okay, and then they receive the precept from the main priest, so they also to them become a monk. Okay. Now, this is the meaning of the platform. It's actual platform, like a little stage where the monks go on top, a special stage they will make, where they will go there to receive the precept during this very special ceremony, and they become a monk. So Kaidan means this. Now you might think, well, what does that have to do with me? I am not a monk. I am just a normal person. So actually, every time we sit in front of that altar, that becomes our personal kaidan. It doesn't matter you're a monk or lay person, doesn't matter. The place we are sitting in front of the Buddha becomes the place where we receive the precepts of faith, where we receive our Buddhist faith, where we receive our Buddhist knowledge, where we observe our Buddhist practice. That becomes our kaidan. So our kaidan, our place of practice, is based on, again, the teachings of the heart of Lotus Sutra, which is Hommon. So Hommon no kaidan means the place where we practice the heart of the main teachings of all of Buddhism. That is Hommon. So, Blitz-san, 何か?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. 平気です。
Oh, 本当? Look, so this Lotus Sutra is the heart of all of Buddhism, and it is heart of Lotus Sutra. So if we want to say it a different way, it is the main heart, main spirit of the Buddha and of all Buddhism. Okay, that's talking about the Buddha's original enlightenment and that all people can become Buddhas. Okay, so the place that we are practicing is based on that doctrine. That is why we structure the altar in a certain way and why we practice in a certain way, based on this doctrine, based on these traditions. And the last one, Hommon no Daimoku. So we talked about before the meaning of Namu Myoho. This is the core. This means Namu to all of the Lotus Sutra. But in this case, we're saying Hommon no Daimoku. So it's all the Lotus Sutra, but with special devotion and taking refuge to the main heart of all of the Buddha's teachings, okay, which is shown in Lotus Sutra, in the Hommon section of Lotus Sutra. Okay, does it make sense? It's a little bit very, very heavy. Now we're very profound doctrine. So our teachings, our practice is based on all of Buddhism. We study the life of the Buddha. This is about Nichiren Shu. And we have a lot in common with all the different schools, just like we said before. But as we study all the teachings, we also realize this heart of the Buddha. And so we put special devotion to this. Okay, so this Hommon no Daimoku means this. We have this special devotion, special refuge in the heart of the Buddha's teachings, and also the eternal Buddha himself, which is Myoho Renge Kyo. Right? So that is the meaning of Hommon no Daimoku. So when we're chanting Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, we are not just saying words. It has a lot of meaning. And it is all coming directly back to Lotus Sutra. Whether it be the object of concentration, the Honzon, or the place where we are practicing Kaidan, or the Odaimoku, which we are chanting, it's all going back to one point, Lotus Sutra and eternal Buddha. Okay? Any other question? Blitz-san は何か質問ありますか、コメントか。
The concept of Kaidan, Hommon Kaidan, is a difficult concept to perceive. But if we actually interpret it as a place of practice of our own, it actually comes into us
Exactly.
more simply. Yes, thank you so much.
Originally, it's also a place of, like the platform that we talked about before, for where the monks become Buddhist monk. It's also can be an actual place later on in the future where people come to become Lotus Sutra monks or Lotus Sutra believers. Okay, but on a day-to-day basis, on a more human basis, it is actually, like he said, the place where we practice, where we observe the Lotus Sutra. That becomes the kaidan, or the platform, where we sit and practice and concentrate and chant like this. Okay.
And this Sandai Hyo, which is the three secret teaching, is an invention of Nichiren Daishonin, correct?
Yes.
And it comes really similar to three jewels. It's a triplet.
Yes, yes.
I wonder if other different sects of Honen or Shinran or Dogen or Eizai, if they use this concept of three, like Nichiren Shonin did.
Three is very, very prevalent throughout all of Buddhism, not only this thing. And there are many many different Buddhist concepts which based on three elements.
Mm-hmm.
And this comes also, to put it very simply, you know, if we want to make a chair, today a chair has four legs, no, more or less, right? But in order, and with these four legs on the chair, you can sit on the chair or you can stand on the chair. It remains stable, no, and it supports your weight and you can sit. The minimum necessary to have a chair and to maintain the balance is three. Okay, so three is used very much. It is like three legs, three pillars. Very important to create a base or a foundation. Okay, of course there's also others with 4 or 5 things like this, but this is like the minimum that we need to create a base. Like I said, in the case of a chair, I just use as example. You know, but if you have a stool with 3 legs, it's also hold. Maybe you don't want to stand on top, but you can sit and it will hold you. So in the same way, a lot of these basic teachings are in 3s. Okay. Okay.
Yes, I thought this part is interesting because even Christianity, we use 3 elements of Trindade.
That's right. That's right.
And in Christianity, there are 3, but it comes down to one of God. God actually holds all of 3, if I'm right. And I'm wondering, in this Sandai Hyo, if there is one concept, it's spurring other 2, or those 3 are equivalent to balance down.
Yes, it's the enlightenment of the Buddha. So these 3 are like 3 different aspects. The Honmon no Honzon, Honmon no Kaidan, Honmon no Daimoku are 3 aspects of the observation or the manifestation of the one Dharma of Myōrenji Temple.
Mm-hmm.
Just I can comment something regarding the question of Blitz.
Yeah.
In other sects, I don't know in Japanese Buddhism, but for example, in Tibetan Buddhism, you have a threefold division. That is the is the Mahayoga, Anuyoga, and Ati Yoga. And then you have 3 different kinds of refuge. You have the first refuge that is in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Then you have the esoteric refuge that is in the is
in the Guru, in the teacher.
Guru, Jidam, and the Kini. And then you have the secret refuge that is in the three Trikaya aspect of the Buddha, and Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Dharmakaya.
Right, right. We have all these different concepts also in Nichiren Buddhism. However, they have arranged it, and their approach, their concentration is been formed in this manner, and also in a set of 3, just like was mentioned before. So this is different than Nichiren Buddhism, the approach. Even though we have a lot of the same concepts, which are the same, because if you go down to study them more deeply, one by one, they're very much the same. but how we put them together and how we approach it might change a bit. Okay, so it also depends on where you started in Buddhism, because this will form your mental perception of what Buddhism should be. Okay, so this is also why people arrive at different conclusions. So I'm not going to say that the Tibetan Buddhism is wrong, but it is different. Using the same, lot of the same concepts or traditions, they observe it in a different way. And also this can come about not only because of the sutras they studied, but also because of cultural differences within each country. Remember, Nichiren Buddhism is coming from Japan, and these teachings came from China. So they have a certain approach and a certain structure based on the Chinese model, which was transmitted to Japan. Okay, and not only Nichiren Buddhism, all the Buddhist schools in Japan have this type of structure. Tibetan Buddhism is also very, very structured. Okay, but it didn't come from the Chinese model. It came from an Indian model, which went into Tibet. So their approaches are a little bit, and they studied a lot about yoga. Yoga was very, the formation of a Tibetan Buddhism, which came out of India, was very much influenced by a devotional movement in India, which was, now I can't remember the Sanskrit word, I forgot. Anyway, bhakti, I think is how you say in Sanskrit, and it's a devotional movement, and it affected both yoga and Buddhism at the same time, simultaneously. And yoga and Buddhism, in many respects, are very similar. So both of these entered into Tibet and had a great influence over Tibetan Buddhism, along with pre-Buddhist teachings that existed in Tibet, called the Bon teachings. So that's the cultural context and historical context. So based on that, it will form all this different structure. Just like Japan had also its own cultural context of like the Shinto deities. And in China, they had Confucianism and Taoism, which also influenced their way of looking at Buddhism also. We could compare that to a Southern European. We'll take a Southern European, where most of the Catholic in Europe are. Some is in, of course, in many other countries. So if you are Catholic, you have a certain way of looking at life. You have a certain culture that has been created. And I see this with a lot of people here in Italy, and I'm sure it's same in Portugal and in Spain, but this influences their style and mentality of practicing even in Buddhism. Because we are born and raised in this culture, and we receive a lot of nutrition, spiritual nutrition from our culture. We grew up with these things. So when we become Buddhism, we cannot deny our culture. We cannot deny our upbringing, but we put them together and accept Buddhism into our lives and move forward. So if we go to maybe Norway, which is not a Catholic country, but it is Protestant, right? And Protestant. And so they will have a little bit different way of looking at religion than a Catholic will. So also this difference will also be applicable. It's very natural because we were born and raised in this culture. And as we are just accepting Buddhism into our life. So of course, there's going to be some influence. It is natural. And Buddhism does not forbid this. It doesn't tell you, okay, before you are such and such, you must forget about this and get it out of your life. We don't teach this. Only thing we teach is try to accept Buddhism, let it enter into your life and help it, allow it to help you and help you to become enlightened and help everyone around you so everyone can be happy. That's all the Buddhism wants. We don't want anything else. Okay. This term, actually, what I just explained in Buddhist terminology is called Ziho Bini, which Nichiren talk a lot about. Ziho Bini. Okay, Nichiren talk a lot about this in his teachings. Okay. We have very profound talking today. For first meeting, it's a very good. Okay, anything else? Carlos, do you have something? Marco, you have something else? I give you capo today. Okay. Carlos, you have nothing? Anything?
As far as I know, I
Well?
think Carlos already left because he needed to do something with his daughter.
Oh, okay. Okay. I understand. So if there are no more questions, you have some comment?
No, I just to thank you so much for this this teaching, and I really loved. I really like this this so much.
Very good. Thank you for organizing this. So let's say thank you to Manuel because he organized everything for today, and Osne and Filipa. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So maybe we should chant the Odaimoku 3 times, okay? And then we will close for today. And later I will make a file of this recording and send to you, Manuel. I don't think you can put on, maybe on Facebook you can put, but on WhatsApp it will be too big. It won't accept.
Yeah, but I can put it in a cloud and then share a link for.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's a very good idea. Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, let's chant the Odaimoku, ne? 3 times. Namu Myōrenji Temple. Namu Myōrenji Temple. Namu Myōrenji Temple. Thank you again, everyone. I appreciate very much you all came to participate together with us. Okay, thank you very much. I hope to see you soon and hope to see you in Renkōji Temple. Okay, all. Okay. Very happy.
Thank
to meet
you.
all of you.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
you. Good evening to everyone.
Good
Thank
evening.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good evening to everyone. Bye-bye, Mata. Bye, Manuel and Filipa and Blitz. And bye to Carlos. Even though he's not here right now, at least he will hear it on the recording. Okay. Have a nice evening, everyone. Bye-bye.